Hey there, welcome back to Retirement with Karen. How's it going today? So, I'm going to talk about 10 things that I am working on right now to prepare my husband and I for retirement and part-time travel. Now, we have about a year to get kind of our ducks in a row to before we start this plan. Okay. So my husband, right now it's May of 2024. My husband's retiring officially in January of 2025. And then maybe a month or two later, we're going to start our part-time travel. So I've got a bunch of things that I'm working on that I thought would be interesting to you in order to see kind of what types of things you might want to be thinking about when you're getting close to retirement and depending on if you want to travel. Okay. So one of the things I'm doing, the first thing is I'm putting together what I'm calling a retirement binder. I'm doing this in Notion. I'll put a picture right here. And I'll do a separate video on the retirement binder because it will take a little time to get through that. And basically, it's a thing that I'm creating. It's got some databases in it and some checklists and all that kind of stuff that I'm keeping everything together, really organized, so that when we do travel, all of my information is in one little system. And I'm really excited about it. So I'll definitely do a separate video to show you what that retirement binder looks like. The second thing that we're doing is reading the book Die with Zero. I think that's what it's called. I'll put a picture right here, and there's a link below if you want to take a look. But that book has really inspired us to think about how do we spend our money going forward so that when we get close to the end of our lives, we will have used it to the best of our abilities. And basically die with zero is the goal. Okay. And so I actually have a spreadsheet. I will do a separate video on this. This is kind of an overview video, but I'll do a separate video if you want to watch that on what our spreadsheet looks like and how to create that spreadsheet. And I did one, my sister actually created it for me because I am not really the spreadsheet person. So she created it, and it's basically done in Google Sheets. It's very simple. In fact, if you want to sign up for my monthly newsletter, I will have a link in the description, and I will probably send folks a copy, like a shell of that news of the Die with Zero spreadsheet when it's done. So if you want to sign up for the newsletter, you'll probably get that for free from me. Number 3, I am planning our part-time travel. And basically how I'm doing that is in my retirement binder, I have a table set up with the next 6 years. And I have the months that we're planning on traveling and the months that we're planning on being home. And then this way I can say, well, in 2025, this is where we're planning on going. In 2026, this is where we're planning on going. And my plan is to have that kind of sketched out and with some flexibility, just to make sure that if we decide, boy, we really liked this location, we want to go back there again, or we liked this cruise, we want to take that same cruise and go somewhere else, then we have some flexibility. But I like to have somewhat of a plan to see, and plus it will keep track of where we've been to, which will be kind of nice. And so basically our plan at this point is to travel March, April, and May of every year, and then September, October, November. And I'm calling that part-time and slow travel. So the goal right now, we'll see how it goes, and I'll be keeping you up to date on our travel plans and where we're traveling and all that kind of stuff. But our plan right now is to stay in one location for a month and then move a location sort of in the same region, depending on where we're at, if we're in the US or if we go overseas, and then, get an experience of 3 different places, but staying in each location for a month. And then coming back home in the summer months. We don't really enjoy hot travel. So it depends. I mean, if we decide we might go, maybe during our summer months, it might be cooler somewhere else. And then we might be able to do some traveling during those summer months. But for now, just to ease into retirement and to part-time travel, that's how I'm planning on kind of dividing up the year right now. So number four is I'm working on a credit card strategy for us to make sure that all of the part-time travel we're going to do, that we can take advantage of the points and airline miles, traveling with free airline miles and collecting as many points as we can. As we're spending money, how can we get the most back and on which credit cards? So I'm exploring that. It will be another video I'm doing, and in my retirement binder, as I show you, you'll be able to see which credit cards we're looking at. In fact, I have one right now that I'm looking at that I will link below in case you want to explore which one, it looks to be right now one of the better ones to get as many points on for traveling. Okay, so number five is this is really the first year. You would think that, I've had a business and I've kept track of our finances pretty carefully, but I've never used a system like Quicken. And this is the first year that my sister actually helped me get set up on Quicken, and this will help us track all of our credit card expenses better than what we've been tracking before. Because if we're going to die with zero, and once we now are not earning an income because we're retiring a little earlier than when we can collect Social Security. And because we're doing that, we're going to have to stay more within a budget than what we're used to. Now, it's going to be a pretty big budget, so I'm not too concerned about that because I think it's going to be easy for us. I don't think it's going to feel like tightening. But with Quicken, it's going to allow us to keep within that budget and make sure we're keeping within that budget. And with all the different credit cards we have that we pay off at the end of the month, all those different credit cards, and we want to make sure that our expenditures are staying within the amount that the die with zero spreadsheet is allowing us to spend each year. And that's going to shift as we get older and we start getting Social Security and all that kind of stuff. Those things are going to shift. So the die with zero spreadsheet already has all that information on there for us. So number six might be surprising to you, but one of the things that I'm doing is this channel. Okay, now this is not my first rodeo with YouTube. I have another YouTube channel. It's called Business with Karen. And so I've had an online business for the last 5 years. And so I am starting this new YouTube channel. One, I really do enjoy sharing what I'm doing. That's why I did it with the business. But two, more importantly for us, is that I'm going to be sharing our travels. So if anybody is interested in different locations that we're going to or cruises that we go on, and this way I can write off all of our travel expenses because it will be a part of our business. So it's not a bad idea to think about how, if you really want to travel, how can you start sharing your travel experiences, maybe on YouTube, maybe on Instagram, something like that, so that you can write off as a tax write-off all of your travel expenses. So that is my number 6 of things that I'm working on. That's why I'm creating this video. Plus, I do just enjoy sharing. So I hope it's helpful for you. Number 7, I personally, my husband does not need to do this, but I am working on a new workout plan for myself so that when we do start part-time travel, I am in better shape. I do have some muscle here, but I'm working on it. What I want to do, so working out is not a new thing for me, but to do my stamina more than it is right now. And so I am working on an exercise plan with weights and just cardio and making sure that, because as you get older, it gets harder to do, right? And so I'm just making sure that I kind of keep up with and get a little bit more intense in the gym. And so then when we start our part-time travel, that will be a part of the planning, is to make sure that we have access to a gym or, so that we can keep our weightlifting going. My husband doesn't, I mean, he lifts weights. So, and I do, but just not on a consistent basis. And so I'm hoping that, that's something that you really have to think about as you get older is how are you going to keep yourself in shape if you want to be able to travel? You got to be able to move. You know what I mean? I wonder if you just saw a little ear pop up. That's my baby. He's sitting, he's sitting right here. And speaking of which, we have two cats right now, and so this is the next thing that is on my planning list. And this little guy, I'm not sure will be, they're both 18. Okay, buddy. They're both 18. And he is, I don't know, he's not doing too great. He's lost a lot of weight. And so we'll see how that goes. But I'm not 100% sure he's going to be around next spring when we start the part-time travel. Lucy, our other cat, is doing pretty good. Okay, you going to let me talk now? Hey, Bubby. This is Cleo. Making a list and watching for opportunities for free cat sitting. So we have been paying for cat sitting every time we go away. I don't really like to leave them alone, especially now they can't be left alone because they need medication and all that kind of thing. But what I'm looking for, what I don't want to do is have to pay a lot when we go travel. Again, we're going to be in a budget and I got to keep within that budget. And so what I'm looking for is people I know who, for instance, may have a roommate and wouldn't mind having to stay in a condo for a month just to get some space to themselves. And in the meantime, just at least be here for the cats, basically. And so I'm looking for opportunities like that. The next thing is basically looking at decluttering, like what things do we need to declutter in our house in order to give us some space to decide maybe later on to do full-time travel. And if we decide in a couple years that full-time travel is the right thing for us, then we want to make it really easy right now to be able to sell our place and not have a lot of stuff, basically. And so right now I'm kind of going through our storage rooms, which we don't have a lot of stuff because I have always been a decluttering kind of person. And so I'm just making sure that there are some things that could be sold. There are some things we don't need right now, and getting rid of those things right now before Jim officially retires and before we start the part-time travel. This way I'll have that done and I won't have to, be thinking about it. And the last thing is really a health plan. It kind of goes with the exercise, but it's more what kind of supplements do our bodies need right now? What do we need to be thinking about as we get older? And just making sure that we have like our most recent doctor appointments and everything kind of lined up so that when we do start traveling, I have that in a plan and we can plan like our doctor's appointments for when we're back home and all that kind of stuff. And so, I think that'll be important. So I'm just trying to do everything I can right now to not have to do a lot when we do start traveling. And so I'll have all of our stuff lined up so that when we do start traveling, it makes it super, super easy for us. So, all right. Well, I hope this was helpful. I'd love to know what kind of things, if you're in the transition phase right now to retirement, I would love to know what kind of things you're preparing for, because maybe there's stuff that I'm missing. And is there anything that I've talked about today that you want me to go into more detail? I'd be very happy to do that. So, all right, we'll see you in the next video.